y'all. Hey, God, folks. Happy Saturday. So I have a message that I wanted to share. I had something on my mind that I wanted to talk about. Is something that is important to me as far as some very important topics. Being that I came across some material, some content that was kind of conflicting to my spirit. So, if you don't know already, my name is Queen Bree, and in this space, I like to talk about hip hop. I like to talk about things concerning the Black community. I like to talk about things that are going on in the world, maybe some hot topics. Maybe give some commentary here and there, things that may be concerning health, or maybe books that I read, or things that are concerning spirituality, things that may come up in my spirit, and also, just things that may come up. Wanting to share things in this space, things that I may have on my chest, things that I may have on my mind, and really just want to freely express myself. So, never feeling the need to prove anything, to really, have people understand me or anything like that. Just freely wanting to express myself. So in this video, I want to talk about something that, again, it was unsettling to my spirit. And, I would name the individual who's in this video that I came across, but in my spirit, something is just doesn't feel as though I absolutely need to. So I'm going to skip that part, and I'm going to refrain from naming said individual, but I just want to make a few points about this said individual. So one thing I will say that I came across in this video of this individual who is a public figure and has a big following. This individual is a male. He is a Black male, and he is known. He's known well in the Black community. I will say that. And as I continue to describe this individual, some individuals that may watch my content may know who I'm talking about. But he has said that he is a school psychologist, and I happen to follow the individual, but there are some things that he said in one of his videos recently that didn't sit well with me. So again, some of the things that he says and some of the things that he has done and said, coming to the internet to express himself, to defend himself, and some of the ways that he has done it is kind of concerning to inquiring minds. So, considering that this individual is a school psychologist, my thoughts is, what do you do when the psychologist is in need of a psychologist? Or what do you do when the psychologist is in need of a therapist? So, there's a lot of prominent individuals in the Black community. There's a lot of individuals in the community and that are in leadership roles, that are, in, I guess, I would say public figures, so in somewhat of a prominent position, right? So what do people do when their hero is on ground zero is the question. So one of the things that didn't sit well with me in this video that I tuned into, that I watched, is how individual that we view so powerful and such a prominent voice and an active voice in the Black community is on camera disrespecting a Black woman, which is a total contradiction. It is hypocritical and an oxymoron when you're talking about individuals who are always exclaiming and saying out of their mouth, Black power, right? Black power, Black power. So that's interesting. But it's no longer Black power when an individual is being exposed. It's Black power until their shadows their demons, their shortcomings, and their guilt is being exposed by another black individual. That's what we see, and that's what is going on here. It's all love for the black folks. It's all black power and black everything until an individual is being challenged, until an individual is being exposed by their own people. So in the video, this individual, this brother, I should say, he went on to say, and I found it very, very disturbing and very conflicting. As I said, it didn't really sit well in my spirit. But he went on to say that there was this female that he was in an situationship with, that he was engaging with, that he may have had an entanglement with, right? He said that the individual, he said that this black woman, I'm going to assume she's a black woman because he's black, pro-black, and always exclaiming, you know, always saying black power. So I'm going to assume that she's a sister, that she's a black woman, which is another reason why it made it so conflicting just watching him say the things that he said out of his mouth loosely and frivolously, right? He said that this woman accused him of penetrating her, and he went on to say he wanted to make it clear that he didn't spend much time with this woman, maybe an hour or a few hours, which, you know, I found that very mind-boggling, that anybody of a certain stature would even come to the internet to defend themselves in such a way, you know. But again, he mentioned that this woman who was accusing him of these things, that he never penetrated this woman, that he never had intercourse with her, but that she was only worthy of fellatio. Now, I know you probably say, Brie, what does this have to do with anything, or why, you know, why do you feel the need to speak on it? Because there's a lot of things in life, as I have said before in a previous upload, in a previous video, I personally believe that there's a lot of things in life that are teachable moments, that there are a lot of things that we can learn from people that we actually respect, or people that we like, or people that, you know, we may even be biased in a lot of ways when it comes to them, as it relates to them, right? But especially individuals that are leaders and individuals that are in these, you know, so-called prominent positions, or those that may have a big following or whatever. People that people put them on a pedestal. They are very much human, and they are very flawed individuals. What I find conflicting and what I find very problematic, and what didn't sit well in my spirit, is that this brother came to the internet to talk bad about this sister, talk real bad about the sister, and for him to say that, you know, he wanted to make it clear that he didn't penetrate her, but that she was only worthy of fellatio. And then he went on to say that she probably had demons in her back cave, that, you know, she was so dark and that it was so bad that she probably needed an exorcism. So my thoughts is, first of all, I think it's inappropriate for such individuals to come to the internet and to speak of another, you know, individual, but especially a black woman, in that way. It shows their character and their level of intelligence, and how tasteless they really are, right? How trifling that really is. So, in considering how oxymoronic that is, you know, when you are engaging, when an individual is engaging with another individual, even if they're not penetrating them, but they are engaging with another individual in a sexual way, saying that she engaged with him in an oral way by her giving him fellatio, that means that he is also taking on her demons that he spoke of, all of the negativity, all of her shortcoming, all of her adversity, all of the darkness, all of her darkness, and all of her negative, dark energy that he said that she has, right? Because he's engaging with her sexually. As we know, those of us that are tapped in, we know that when, as it relates to sexual activity and engaging with another sexually, that is one of the the highest exchanges of energy, that your sexual energy is a very sacred thing. So he gets online and he starts talking about this woman in a way that shows that he's very emotional, almost as if he's hurt. And this is a teachable moment to me, because people think because they engage with individuals in a way sexually that is not penetrating, but only because an individual, they're engaging with an individual orally, that excuse them, that they're absolutely excused from the consequences that come with that, right? Once again, this is a learning moment. This is also a teachable moment. You're not excused from the consequences that come from you dealing with somebody that you say is a demon that you have engaged with sexually, right? So you have engaged with this woman sexually by way of fellatio, by letting her perform fellatio on you, and you say that she is some kind of crazy and needs an exorcism and that she has demons, which lets us know that we can learn that now he has engaged with her, which means that they have exchanged sexual energy, which means that he has taken on her demons and all of her darkness, all of her sickness, everything, mind, body, spirit, mental, physical, emotional, right? That's what we are learning from this. And if you don't know, then again, this is a teachable moment, a huge teachable moment. So not only, they say that you are what you eat, right? And not only are you what you eat, but you are also what and whom you engage with sexually, right? That's also what we're learning here in, this video, this upload, and the vomiting of the words and the things that this brother has said about this sister, right? So he is what he engaged with sexually. All of the negative things that he said about this woman, about this sister, all of the things that he accused her of being, are all of the things that he took on, right? Definitely. And again, we're talking about a brother who is a pro-black individual who claims to be pro-black, and he gets on the internet and he's talking about a black woman, a sister, right, that he engaged with. It's all fun and games until people start bumping heads, and then they get mad and they get emotional and they have no emotional intelligence, and then they run to the internet and they start talking bad about each other, right? It shows lack of emotional control. It shows no emotional intelligence and a lack of maturity. It's very immature. And then another thing that didn't sit well with my spirit, considering the black community, right, is that the brother went on to say that she was a hood rat. I mean, he said a lot of nasty, negative things about this woman, which was very surprising to me considering who he is, right, and how respected he is, or the big following that he has, right? He called her a hood rat, and it rubbed me the wrong way because there's a lot of youngsters in these black communities, and there's a lot of black people that are in poverty-stricken areas. There's a lot of black people that are in areas that are considered poverty-stricken, impoverished areas. Individuals that are in unfortunate living conditions, and individuals that grew up in places that we call the hood, right? So if she is a hood rat, according to his words, what's a hood rat? Inquiring minds want to know. What is a hood rat? Is it the folks that are in these poverty-stricken areas? Is it the black folks that come from these places that we call the hood? So, he spoke about this woman in such a demeaning way, in such a nasty and foul way. And even, went on to talk about her genitalia. So, inquiring minds want to know. So, my thoughts is, the brother speaking about this woman and her foul smell coming from her genitalia, which is weird. He mentioned that she was very acidic in her yoni, possibly. And if she's acidic in her yoni, then, you know, she may not have the same exact acidity in her mouth. But if a woman has issues in her yoni, then she probably has issues within her mouth. That's what I don't understand. And you know, it's just like, not to be, you know, not trying to be disrespectful, but these are certain things that should be brought to people's attention, because a lot of people be engaging and they swear that they're so smart when they don't even have enough knowledge or the mental capacity to be considering certain things as far as health, to be engaging in certain ways, right? Because they make themselves look like fools. And why do I say that? Because you're talking about, people always try to excuse sexual, they always try to excuse the potential for adverse sexual, what should I say, consequences, if you will, by, instead of, you know, engaging in the penetration, by only engaging in oral, and then everything else is excused. It doesn't work like that, right? So if he says that she's acidic in her yoni, does that excuse the condition of her mouth? Possibly. I don't think so. Are you excused from exchanging energy, sexual energy, possibly demons and everything dark from this woman, by only engaging with her orally, or her giving you fellatio and you not penetrating her? I think that's something that should be considered. And then, you know, speaking of, if we want to consider the health and well-being of a black woman and the condition of her yoni, if we're being absolutely honest and coming from a woman that knows better, a yoni cleanse, if a woman has a foul odor and that is an issue, a yoni cleanse is not going to be enough to clean out whatever issue that she has. She's going to need an internal cleanse, probably a deep cleanse, fruits and veggies, advising her that, you know, consuming lots of fruits and veggies and hydrating her body, hydrating her cells, eating things that is good for her body, that's going to deodorize her body, the sweet stuff. That goes for men and women. But since we're talking about the woman right now, because he's talking about the sister and how she had a foul smell coming from her genitalia, which I think is absolutely crazy, that he let her give him fellatio, and because she used her mouth, but she has a foul smelling yoni. So anyway, you know, again, the yoni cleanse is not something that I think is just the end all be all. Get that done, and then that's just going to heal whatever she has going on internally. You know, maybe advising her that using things that are a natural internal deodorizer, like, I don't know, chlorella, chlorophyll, spirulina, and different herbs, and just different good stuff for the woman, for the female's body, are good things to consider. You know, I get that, you know, some of it, I guess, was supposed to be comedy. It was supposed to be funny. But I really found it offensive and took issue with it, just considering who the brother is. And maybe that's because myself and a lot of people have high standards and high expectations for certain individuals. I mean, myself as well, but this is a prominent individual that we're talking about, right? Public figure, well known. He said that he's the most requested scholar. So, you know, it's some of those things to be considered. There is I found that there was a lot of unconscious commentary and a lot of unconscious things that was said in the video. First and foremost, you know, getting on the internet to rush and defend yourself. If it was me, I probably would have said nothing, because for what? I'm not about to give you my energy, and I'm not going to let you know what my next best move is. You know, there is a saying that goes, never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. And I think that it is a brilliant a brilliant statement. I think that it is brilliant advice. You know that you have enemies. You know that they're watching. You know that they're lurking. And you know that they're doing all of these different things. You know they don't like you. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, we should let people insult our intelligence. I mean, I know people try to do it all the time, but I think that sometimes one of the best things you can do is to let an individual think that you're not intelligent. Just play the fool who thinks that they're playing you, who wants you to believe that you're the fool. Outsmarting, outwitting the devil, outwitting your enemy. Sometimes sitting back, being quiet, and being observant is one of the most power player moves that you can make. One of the smartest things that you can do. But going to the internet and telling the internet, knowing that this antagonist who is your enemy, who's been constantly getting at you, knowing that they're watching or they're going to see what you post, and it's almost like you're posting it because you know that they're going to see it, so as to let your enemy know your next move. And you know they say to make your next move your best move, and you're not making your next move your best move when you're letting your enemy know what your next move is. So as they say, you never let a wise woman once told me, rest her soul, she told me, never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. Do I need to break that down for everybody, or are we all here? Are we all on the same page? I don't think that I have to break that down. I think that we all know what that means. You know, then we consider this prominent individual and the things that he say. But, you know, it's very concerning and conflicting to inquiring minds, especially considering that this is a brother who has a daughter who has children. So it's like, you talk about this woman, and you know, this is a big thing in our community. The men like to talk about the women, and they like to talk about how they conduct themselves in a certain type of way. And he kept, you know, insisting on expressing and wanting to put an emphasis on her being a jump off, or how it was random. Really, I just found it quite amusing listening to the brother just like defend himself, like, but him saying that she was a jump off. So you are what you attract, right? If she's a jump off, what does that make you? Better than her because you're a man? I don't think so. She's a jump off, and you are engaging with this woman in a jump off type way. But I want to tell you, I want to share something with you. I want to say something. You know, it's a fact that a queen doesn't want a man who is a jump off, and a queen doesn't want a man who is easy. So just the same way that a man doesn't want a woman that is easy and is for everybody and is for the streets, same thing for a real woman or a queen or a goddess. She also don't want a man who is a jump off, or who is easy to get or easy to be with, or have himself spread loose and you know, for the streets. So, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. Hopefully, you know, hopefully the brother can, you know, conduct himself in a more responsible way, and, you know, going forward, be mindful of how he should move in a more, you know, in a more calculated, what is another good word that I'm looking for? A strategic way when you're on a battlefield and you are in warfare, whether that be physical, by way of the internet, spiritual, or whatever, what have you. When you have enemies watching you, and you know that you have enemies watching you, you should be a little bit more strategic and not doing it for the entertainment or for clicks and likes, or simply because your feelings are hurt. So anyways, folks, that's all I got here. And that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I wanted to share my thoughts on that. Happy Saturday, folks. Hope you guys stay cool, stay healthy, stay hydrated, stay well. Ashe.